Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chop It Up, only on 1:37 p.m. I'm your host, John Henry.
And I'm Brandon Bryant, and we are breaking down business and culture through the entrepreneurial lens, whether that is $1 million deals or whether that is flipping kicks on StockX. Whatever your hustle may be, we are here to help you.
And speaking of StockX, they're in the news this week for a record-breaking deal. StockX has just become the first sneaker reseller to be valued at $1 billion+ after the latest round of financing. Guys, this is an example of what I mean when I say riches in niches. Reselling was started by eBay way back when, but it was overly general. StockX came in just a few years ago and got hyper specific on a vertical they felt they could execute on, and the result is today they're worth over $1 billion, the first sneaker platform to do so.
And let's talk about StockX and their overall model. So they have a model where they authenticate your shoes. So you as a seller send StockX your shoes, which they line you up with a buyer, and then StockX verifies and authenticates that shoe, and then once they actually ship it to whoever you sold it to, money is in your bank account.
Also, a quick note, I actually toured the StockX facility one time, and they take authentication seriously. I mean, it's manually done. I mean, it's a tech-driven process, but at the end of the day, there's an individual who's there, and they're scanning the Yeezy Boosts. They know all the common things that counterfeiters will usually get wrong. And so they've built this brand and expertise for being able to determine what's real, i.e. authenticate. And so as a consumer, you feel a great degree of comfort buying from StockX, and the value of that obviously has made them a $1 billion brand. In fact, I learned while at StockX, the way that they authenticate things, certain brands like Bapes will do undercover ways of letting someone know that it's indeed a real item. For instance, they have upside down monkeys on certain panels. I think it's like, allow me to just riff here, but I believe it's like every single panel of clothing on a Bape piece has an upside down monkey. And it's like only an authenticator would know to go and hunt those down. Also the tags has a certain monkey as well. It's almost like a hidden code that you have to be trained to look for, and that's what StockX got really good at.
All right, and let's talk about the larger issue, which is authenticity verification. And who's in front of this is actually LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. You might know them. They own Louis Vuitton, Moet and Hennessy, but they also own 60+ other brands. And I want to spend more time on this because I believe that this is going to be the future of retail, and a lot of companies are going to be focusing on this. And specifically, even Nike, who is one of the biggest folks who get counterfeited across the entire globe, is going to be rolling out their own authenticity system using blockchain in the next coming months.
Okay, so we got to break down blockchain in order for this to make sense. So let's go ahead and pull up the definition. The blockchain is a system in which a record of transactions made in Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency are maintained across several computers that are linked in a peer-to-peer network. Basically, it means that every time an item has been purchased, there's a record of it, and you can trace it all the way back to its origin. Hopefully, in this case, an LV store. So it's just a fancy way of saying that there is extreme transparency in this system. When a transaction occurs, there is an entire network of nodes that all validate that transaction. And so I think the interesting thing has been we've all seen the craze of blockchain and Bitcoin, and it's easy to discard it as just pure hype, but underneath it is a very real and valuable technology that up until this point, we've not yet seen how it's going to be applied in a real business way.
Yeah, well, fashion is like a really good use case. It's basically this going to be the Carfax for whatever product that you buy. So you get to see who owned it, where it went, where its origin came from, and you get to figure out, like, do I really want to buy this? Or is this fake? Because we have no type of history of it.
Exactly.
So I think it's going to be good for just like the culture, and we'll see how it actually affects Nike, Louis Vuitton, if their sales go up even more. I mean, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, LVMH is doing about $60 billion already.
Wow, that's crazy.
Which is much bigger than most conglomerates in the US. So it's going to be pretty scary. guys, let's just talk about this. Like, luxury has a lot of counterfeit issues, and you can just go down to Canal Street, if anyone's familiar with New York, and get you some Gucci fly. Really quick story, when I was in high school, my senior year, I had a little money saved up, and we drove all the way to New York. We stayed in New Jersey. I went down to Canal Street. The kid copped quite a bit, Ed Hardy. You know what I'm saying? I was out there, Christian Audigier, Ed Hardy, killing the game. Came back with selling it, super fly. But unfortunately, like counterfeit game specifically, if you go down to Canal Street, it's looking very bleak. It's looking very bleak down there. There's literally only purses.
To me, the big takeaway here is blockchain as, again, it was all hype, but now we're seeing some actual ways that this can be used to build businesses. I think StockX just manually recreated that authenticity, but in the future, brands like Nike and LVMH will be looking to use it to gain a new edge.
Yeah, and this could actually streamline StockX process, because that process probably takes quite a bit of time to authenticate, and if you could just do that right off then, maybe you get your shoes quicker.
Yeah,
all right? You get
and
your
like
shoes quicker.
I'm not a sneakerhead, but I like collecting, watches.
Yes.
And like that's a big one, man, because in a Rolex, right? So I bought this, and when I bought, I didn't know if you change even one single screw on a Rolex, it immediately becomes not certifiable. It doesn't retain its value. It's useless. And so that's really scary when you're dropping $6,000 on a watch. And you're like, all right, am I getting a real one? And so I would have appreciated as a consumer if my shit was verified by the blockchain,
right.
and I would have known.
You can just create your own account on here. Let me just check to see if this is right.
But this is indeed authenticated, I'll just throw that out there.
So
1993. So question for the audience here, help us understand blockchain better. So if you guys got the grip on the blockchain, give us the scoop, chime in with where you think the future of this thing is headed, what are some good use cases, what are some things that we should be paying attention to, and then we'll chop it up here on the show.
All right, guys, time for our next segment, which is
Deal Talk. Ding, 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 ding.
All right, so this is John's favorite segment, but today we're going to be talking about creative, so I thought it was best that I would lead the charge on this. All right, folks, let's talk about what a consulting firm is. It's a firm where a team of experts give professional advice to an organization. One key example, when I was in investment banking, we had a whole team of consultants who worked in-house at the HQ and took care of all the technology. They worked from Monday to Thursday, and then maybe they went back home on Friday. It probably feels pretty good to be an expert. So we're creative experts, and I like to take Fridays off.
Price went up. Ching.
So we had a new super cool acquisition come up. So we had Accenture acquire Droga5. Why is this important? Because Accenture is one of the largest agencies for consulting across the entire globe. And now they are putting creative very high on their totem pole, and Droga5 is one of the best in the game on the creative agency side. So I'm extremely excited. John, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I think let's just get right into the takeaway. It's not really so much about the acquisition, because these happen all the time. It's more so about what this implies for the future of content creators. I think before, if you were a content creator, it was like a cutesy-wootsy thing. Oh yeah, it's a kid with a YouTube channel.
He's an influencer.
But I think this is starting to tilt the balance a little bit, where people are starting to treat content creators like specialists, and they're understanding that without the mastery of this art that we do to reach people, they ain't gonna reach nobody. So you're not gonna be able to grow a business in the modern economy without this skill set. As a content creator, you know what I'm saying? As a content creator, I'm incredibly excited about this. I feel like, we've been sailing to a remote island. Everyone was laughing at us. And now all of a sudden the wind is to our backs, and while everyone is scrambling to catch up, we're far ahead of the game. And you know what happens when you're ahead of the game? You cash in a big way. So, I don't know. That's why I'm excited about this. I think in the future, we're gonna start to see budgets for content creators. Honestly, I'm gonna make a prediction. I think we're gonna start getting paid as much as fucking athletes. And maybe in 7 to 10 years, I think we'll be as well paid as like a junior athlete.
Ooh, but I think the other thing here is why people are focusing on creativity is because there's just too much shit out there. There's so much noise, and to cut through the noise, you have to be more authentic. You have to have better storytelling. You have to have creative-driven and strategy-driven production. So for all my content creators out there, start owning your own ideas. Start being able to know how to do photography, video, script writing, all these things, and put those people on your team. Because like John said, if the wind's behind you and it's in your cells, then people will be coming to you to create and start to have that communication and that conversation with their end consumer. So prepare yourself for new opportunities. 10 years from now, we're gonna be rich. All right, folks,
That's
let us
awesome.
know what you guys think about content being the future. I've always been saying this, and even just from us, like a lot of the brands we've been working with now don't want us to just have a little ad, hey, this is a new this is new that. Like they want very brand driven, very content driven storytelling to start communicating with their end consumer.
So this past week I was at the Time 100 celebration. There was a daytime and nighttime. During the summit, the daytime, there was a guy named Kai-Fu Lee who is right up there with Masayoshi Son, who Japanese investor specifically in AI. Anyway, the whole reason I bring this up is he stressed that in the new economy, the careers that are gonna have outsized value are careers rooted in creativity. Because anything that is repetitive will be replaced. And so this acquisition just supports that because, creativity has outsized value because robots can't recreate that pretty much.
So folks, this is a win for the creatives. We've been in the corner, we've been shunned for quite a long time, but it's time for us to step out and do our own thing. And like John said, like creativity is the future, but I think that leads to innovation, right? Robots can't continue to innovate. It's the folks who actually create them that innovate. So let us know in the comments what you think about content and the future of it, and innovation and just creativity. All right, guys, so the takeaway here is that creativity is a future, content is a future, and guess what? We would love to see some of your content. So drop links to some of your best work, and we'll check it out.
We'll feature one.
We'll feature one, we'll review it, and we'll get back to you. So let us know in the comments below.
All right, guys, that about does it for Deal Talk. So send in your content. We're excited to check it out, and we'll pick one lucky winner with the most creative content to feature on next week's episode. All right, guys, here it is. In case you missed it, Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson just became the highest paid NFL athlete ever. Congrats, Russell. But so what does that mean? Or what did
Congrats to Sierra.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah.
Shout out
So
to
what's
you,
what's he doing with this
No more
bread
dancing, girl. No more dancing.
though? Last night, I dreamed of. You saw when they did their? Oh no, it wasn't that. It was they did their In My Feelings challenge.
You love me? Are you riding? Say you never ever leave.
So what's Russell gonna do with all that bread?
Well, let's just even step back. A lot of quarterbacks do this for their offensive linemen to protect them and to keep them going longevity-wise. So they usually give watches or something like that. But this is pretty important because he gave all of his offensive linemen, all 13 of them, $12,000 in Amazon stock.
Dude, what's nuts is if Amazon continues growing the way they have for the last 10 years, then this stock, this $12,000 in the next 10 years will be worth $270,000, $250,000, right? And like, I love this because it's such a concrete way to think about your money literally just growing, right? So if he would have given them, as an example, if he would have given them $12K in cash, that probably would have been spent right away. But instead, he gave them cash in a stock that's gonna appreciate in value over time. That is pretty awesome. It's pretty woke to do that as a quarterback.
And this is what your grandma usually does for you, or your parents do for you. So he's taking very good care of them. And what I would do if I got that money, I would just give it to my kids and let them have it for a way long time.
That's a whole lot of betting on Bezos, though, if you think about it. They're just like essentially buying a little piece of Bezos and saying like, Bezos, keep doing your thing, bro.
And they're out of Seattle, so it makes sense. Like he is the king of that territory, so you want a little piece of that.
Shout out Russ. I think that's a great example to be setting. For my nieces and nephews, I'm gonna get them some bonds. You know what I'm saying?
He believes in the government. I believe in technology.
Oh.
So I will be getting more Amazon, more Facebook, more money. Actually, I might still stick with Netflix too.
Counted is like, fuck
Our
Netflix.
producer doesn't believe in it, but it's like
Disney Plus is going to take them over, mark my words. 2 years.
Disney
No.
Plus 2 years.
No.
Okay, what movie just made $1 billion over the weekend?
Oh.
Movies
Avengers.
that belong.
In terms of Disney, they just launched an amazing movie this past weekend. The first movie to do over $1 billion in an opening weekend ever. And they also own the top 4 largest grossing weekends ever.
Damn.
So Disney, kudos to you. Avengers, I haven't seen it yet. No spoilers, please. I still have to see Captain Marvel. John, what do you think about Avengers? Have you watched all 21 movies yet?
I mean, when I think of like,
I knew that.
I don't think Disney is gonna. You can't Disney and chill, bro. You can only Netflix and chill. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like Netflix.
Okay, so there's different verticals. So Disney is young kids and superheroes, nerds, if you will. But Netflix is
And
like
for the rest of the
all in
world,
between.
for the rest of the world, there's Netflix.
That's
I
why
mean,
Netflix is gonna still win.
I just think Netflix has earned their place in the culture, and that has an unquantifiable value, in my opinion. All right, guys, so let us know which stock you're gonna buy in the comments below. I'm curious to see which one is the most popular among the people. But before we close out, as always, we wanna let you know that we heard y'all. All right, so B, what we got today on the Chop Block?
All right, folks, this week we heard from Kevin Wickham, and Kevin Wickham wrote, "Love the college talk, guys. I'm currently in college. This is my final semester. I recently started my business about 5 months ago now. There has been some ups and some downs. I feel you on that, brother. But I love it. I wish I knew more about business about 3.5 years ago. Then I wouldn't have wasted any of my money going to college."
Jesus.
On a different note, any tips around building brand awareness on a small budget, and what percentage of your capital should you put into advertising and brand building?
That's a good question.
John, what we got?
Oh,
What we
man.
got, huh?
So I would say, firstly, it's what if we inspire a generation of college dropouts?
Okay.
That would be an unintended
This is supposed to travel.
impact of this show. But look, it's a good question. Duct tape budget for marketing. I think this is the best possible era to be operating on a shoestring budget. There are so many things that you can do for free to get your brand off the ground. Let's just go ahead and like list all the things that come to mind that are for free. One, you want to go back and forth? I mean, I can think of like, let's think of all the things that you can do to build a brand that costs $100 or less. Okay. One, just go toe to toe. One, jumping in on a hashtag and engaging with every single person on that hashtag.
Ooh, I like that. Let's do it. Okay, going to entrepreneur or creative meetup. Maybe it's photography for your company.
Creating a podcast and doing it weekly, every week, and then just posting it onto your thing.
That's number 3. Number 4 is DMing people. All right, DMing them with a little bit of a little bartering, little value. I'll exchange this for that.
5, do a giveaway and capture people's emails and start building up your mailing list.
Okay, and actually create a newsletter behind that giveaway.
7, find your competitors, research who wrote an article about them, find that writer on Twitter and tweet at them and ask them to write about your business.
Ooh, and I just want to close it up with 8 right here. It's like, go on your competitors' social media channels, look at what people are commenting, asking for, and actually deliver that ask for them, deliver that value for them. So go in there, you have a big competitor, and actually answer and create content around what people are asking for on the social media.
9, go on your competitor's Yelp page and find all the people who have bad reviews and court them over to your business and give them a shot, and give yourself a shot to earn their business.
Okay, and 10, we're gonna actually close at 10. 10, you can go to where your competitor's area is and hand out flyers around there, or talk to people, or pitch something, or
Old
create
school,
content,
baby.
or act like you're doing interviews. Hey, we're outside of X, Y, and Z restaurant or X, Y, and Z place. What do you like about them? Why did you go here? Blah, blah, blah. And they are gonna say something because they're on tape. Take that home. This is research.
11, Facebook video ads right now are about 1 to 2 cents per impression. So you can get a whole lot of mileage out of creating one video and putting $100 behind it to reach thousands of people that you are specifically hoping would buy your product.
Folks, we have created 11 ideas in just a short period of time. We think that there's a huge opportunity for you guys to brainstorm yourselves and to think of ideas that are less than $100 to create something for yourself, to do some guerrilla marketing, some grassroots, and to really understand what your end consumer actually wants. All right, Kevin, hopefully that was helpful for you. And guys, you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you out in whatever your hustle may be. So let us know in the comments how we can be more helpful or what you would like to see a little bit more of, okay? And until next time, peace.